Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Chat Reality. I'm Michael.
And I'm Molly.
And Molly, it is so good to have you back. We missed you these last couple weeks, but glad you are back home from traveling the world and back where you belong on the pod now. And we are also very excited to have our guest here, who is it has become tradition during Survivor season that we start the season with him and we end the season with him. It's our friend Matt Scott. Matt, how are you?
I'm lovely. I love being here. I love our tradition. I love that like you two together is just but then the three of us is and it feels so right. And I really feel like we've been on a journey since the last time we spoke. Not a Survivor journey, but like our own journey with
Yeah, who lost
Survivor
their vote?
50. Probably me at this. Probably me and you lost our votes at this point, and Molly somehow came out on top, as is tradition as well. But no, I'm so thrilled to be here on the other side of, I know for all of us, like plenty of watch parties and Rob's book launching and becoming a New York Times bestseller. So it feels
Incredible.
good to be here.
Good. Well, it is so good to have you. Now, Molly, before we start, I just want to get both of y'all's quick finale thoughts because I haven't heard from either of you. Molly, I know you just watched it last night, finally. What are your
Yes.
big overall quick thoughts on the finale?
Yeah, I feel like because I knew going into it, like kind of what was going to happen, I had a little bit of a skewed view, I guess, of watching the finale. But I really did enjoy it as a whole. Like, I think I was able to see, like, I was watching it also with a lens of, like, I knew Aubrey was winning. So I could see, like, the moments of her confessionals. Like, it really kind of felt like full picture there of having her as the winner in the end. But I did feel like the live component of it just wasn't executed to the best of the ability. Like, obviously, as fans, we wanted to see like all the live and reunion aspects to it, and I feel like that got cut short a lot. So I wish that maybe they alter that in some ways if they do the live reunion again. But overall, I was happy with the finale.
Yeah, I don't know that we're getting a live finale again, so we might not have to
Yeah.
worry about that.
No.
At least not for a long time.
Yeah.
But Matt, we have not heard from you, of course, since before the season. So, what are your just kind of overall thoughts on season 50 as a whole?
You know what? Zooming out, I really love season 50. Like there's it's so easy to nitpick and think about all the things we want to improve, but in isolation and then looking at a bunch of other seasons, looking at 49, 48, just going back to like 50 was the stuff of legends. It was the stuff of dreams. Not to sound too much like a poster boy for Jeff and, production, but I really even appreciated the finale. The moment we'll talk about the moment Jeff messed up and spoiled the show. I could not believe that. But I think it's just like, I even love that they did the live thing. Like the live finale was not what it's been in the past and it wasn't executed in the same way. But like the fact that they did that as opposed to just asking traumatic questions to people while they're on an island eating pizza and drinking like cold champagne or hot champagne, like I
Yeah,
like
cool
this
champagne's
better.
good.
I mean, cold champagne, a lot better, a lot better. Not great though. When you lose Survivor, you kind of want to just chill out and not talk to anyone. I'm guessing. So, but I liked this a lot.
Yeah, I think like even look, it's only been a week, less than a week
Yeah,
since the finale, but even like in this time, I feel like I look more positively at the season as a whole than I did like in the moment because I think it's so easy in the moment to like just be frustrated by things and whatever. But like looking back, I think in a year, 2 years, I think I'm going to look back fondly at season 50 and just like how remarkable it was of a milestone. And just like there were even the bad moments, like the Zach Brown of it all and whatever, like are just going to be funny looking back. Like it's going to be just like a joke that we will have for all time of Survivor, or whatever we have left in its lifespan, which is hopefully another 50 seasons. But I think it's just going to be like the lows were, I think, even can be looked at as like iconic and funny in the future.
yeah. The bad stuff was really bad, but that's fun. It's
But it's
fun
better
for
than
us.
boring. Like, I
It's
think,
better than boring.
season
Yeah.
40 to me, kind of boring. What moments do we think of with season 40? I don't know that there's more than just the Adam Klein podium idol. Like, that's all I can really of a moment that I remember. But season 50, even though it had some bad moments, they were still moments that I think we're going to remember.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
well, let's talk about what we're going to be doing here today. Because if you remember, a few months ago, we did a draft before the season started.
I blocked it out.
And Molly was our winner with picking Aubrey. So congratulations,
Yay.
Molly.
Mhm.
And we are going to look back. I rewatched the draft and I took notes on kind of just our big thoughts of why we each picked who we did. So we're going to go back in the order that we picked them, and I'll kind of just think in a sentence or two, just kind of the big idea of why we picked them. And then whoever picked that person can talk about just how they feel now looking back at that, whether they are happy they picked that person or how wrong or right we were. So
Got it.
we're getting started. I started the draft and I picked Jenna Lewis first, which seems fitting that we're talking about Jenna first because, as we know now, she was the first person voted out. So
You know what?
You had some high hopes.
You did.
Yeah.
You believed.
I said, even in the moment, I said, I don't know that she is going to win this season, but it feels right that I picked her first season 1. It just felt right that the person here from season 1 gets picked first in our draft. So I don't think that I went into this really thinking she was going to win. But I actually did like what she said about like the conjecture flattery of it all.
Yeah.
I thought was interesting. And I thought she seemed to like, which I know, Matt, you were not a fan of that.
I'm still not.
but Matt, I love your background. I think your background is just so incredible. And, I don't know how often anyone compliments you on that, but I just thought I would.
Wow. I want to put you first in the draft again all of a sudden. It's weird. I don't know why. I remember saying, I was like, that's going to get old real quick. And we didn't really get to see it. I wish we would have gotten to see it.
I know. It should have been a montage. Like, they should have just shown a montage of her complimenting everybody. I think that would have been so funny. But maybe she didn't end up doing it, really. Wasn't there long enough to do it. But... No, so Matt, you thought that she was going to play too hard, too fast, which you were 100% right in that. I was excited going in thinking like, okay, she like knows the game and has kept up with it more than I thought. So I think I was just impressed because I thought a lot of people I think thought like, oh, the Colbys and the Jennas of the world aren't going to have watched the last 10 years of the show and will have no idea what game they're getting into. But then finding out that Jenna, she's been watching this whole time and she really knows this game. I was impressed by that and thought that maybe that would suit her well, but I think it might have gone the opposite way. So
I think it did.
It did. Well, we know it did. But I think that might have been a big reason why she was voted out that early, because I think maybe people, if she had like kind of been like, I don't know what I'm doing, then maybe people would have been like, well, let's just keep her around. But because she was like playing so hard trying to get out Cirie right from the get-go, people were like, whoa, this is too much. And that might have ended up being what worked against her.
I mean, honestly, like in her defense, I just think the mistake was going after Cirie. I can't even say it because I'm so shocked.
Because nobody should do it ever.
Nobody should
even put it out in the universe.
No, but like going after her is the wild thing to me because nobody felt good about that, and obviously people were okay with keeping her around. But that was just the wrong call. Anyone else, honestly, and I think Jenna might have been okay.
Yeah, I agree. Well, then, Molly, you got the next pick, and you picked Charlie Davis. And you were talking about the fact that he has a lot of connections in the cast, and thought that if he was to make it to the end this time, that he would get the votes because of his reputation of being robbed last time, that would help him to get the votes if he were to make it to the end again. But Matt and I were worried that he would be an immediate target because of his reputation, and that, although, look, he made it further, but he did get voted out the first time he went to a tribal council. So,
did we say anything about Bad Blood, by the way? I feel like
we made lots of puns. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I know. I feel like looking back at Charlie's game, I think the big thing that was a detriment there was his not trusting of Rizzo, and that he was like, oh, because Rizzo was not voting for his strongest ally, which obviously we know was a lie there, but like with that, him being so gung ho on that, really, in Charlie's perspective, like he shouldn't have. Looking back on it, like he shouldn't have done that. I think because I mean, obviously Rizzo, he didn't understand the whole context there, and that was definitely his detriment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think just he got tunnel vision. And he was so intent on, I have to get out Rizzo because of this one thing that he told me. And I think just that coupled with just his reputation and of being such a smart, great player of this game, I don't think he was ever going to make it past a couple of tribals. He was just, he had too big of a target on his back. And so I'm just glad we got as much as we did of him because his tribe for so long was able to avoid tribal that it felt like he made it further in the season than he actually really did in theory because he was voted out the first time he had the chance to be voted out. But I enjoyed what we saw of Charlie this season. I'm glad he was there.
Yeah. And then he'll be on White Lotus, so that's exciting.
Yeah,
Yes,
good for
Charlie
him.
and Camilla.
Yeah.
What do we think their characters will be?
I don't know. I feel
A
like
married couple
Mm-hmm.
sitting at a dinner table. I don't know. I feel like I could see them working at a restaurant or being server or not like
Oh.
servers or being like maybe they work at the hotel at the White Lotus. Like I'm not sure. Or would they be guests? I don't know.
I think they'll be guests.
Yeah.
I think they'll be.
I
think
could see
we'll
them being
the-
a married couple.
kind of in like the vein of like the Angelina and Cara Kay, like the in season 2, like they were just like in the premiere, like kind of tanning out by the pool. Like they didn't really, have like character names or anything, but like I could see something like that where it's just like a quick little cameo. Maybe Charlie gets a Taylor Swift reference in there, and then that'll be it.
But I feel like Camilla deserves the Alex Merlino slot of like having a fully baked storyline.
Yeah, I don't know that anyone. I feel like that just came because like Alec and
Same
Mike
actor.
are really close friends.
Yeah.
So I think that helped him get a much bigger role, and that was season 1 also. But I don't know
Yes.
if they're going to get that much. But I would be very happy if they did. The more the
Okay.
merrier.
We'll see.
Then Matt, you got 2 picks, and you first picked Chrissy. You said that you just wanted her to succeed. I was worried because like her tribe on HHH didn't really get along with her very well. I thought maybe
Yeah.
that same thing might happen, which we did see that there were some people who were a little bit annoyed by her. And then you picked Emily, who you thought maybe wouldn't be as big of a threat as the others. That there are a lot of people with big reputations in this season, and Emily would be able to kind of slide by. And maybe she would have if she didn't get in her own way quite a bit this season.
Look, she was
but it
great.
worked really well for her.
I think she could have done really well. She could have won the season for all I care. Like she was really on a good trajectory.
But she was your winner pick.
She was.
Matt had like 5. Everyone on his team was his winner pick.
I think maybe
Hands
except
up
for
together.
Jonathan. Maybe except
Yeah.
for Jonathan. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
I think you were saying that before Jonathan. was
Yeah,
the last
probably. I will say this, like Chrissy, the thing I should have seen about Chrissy, and it's hard to know after so long of not seeing someone out there, but what we saw of her, I really felt like she's just she's very certain about the people she likes to be aligned with. She has her values set in stone. I don't feel like she's the most flexible person or the most flexible player, and I think that got in the way a lot in this season. I didn't expect that, but hey, that's what we got from Chrissy. And every time I think of her, I just think of the idea of being cut from the same cloth,
Mhm.
and I wince.
Yeah, I did not expect what we got from Chrissy this season. Like
No.
Chrissy was like, because I think of her as like it's Chrissy versus Ben on HHH, and so I thought, oh, she's gonna be like the last person who would ever align with Jonathan and Joe and all those, and she was.
Mhm.
She was the main part of that cloth, really. And I did not expect that. But by the end, I hate to say it, I was not too sad to see her go when she did.
No, but I will just say for Emily, like it was so impressive the ways that she would blow up everyone's spot along the way, and then she would get out of it. Like she would do these things that you think would hurt Christian's game. Excuse me, Hubicki's game or Hubicki's game, however I'm supposed to say his last name now. And Devin's, and like no, it's like everything worked out. Everything worked out really well for her throughout
Incredible.
the game. So I mean, I think she was a solid pick.
I do too. She
Yeah.
did so much better than I would have ever imagined after episode 3 or whatever. Like the first time that she, when she turned on Christian and Devins, and I thought, oh, she's not long for this game anymore. But she somehow just kept making it further and further and
Yeah.
further, and it's just, she's like Teflon. Everything just slides right off of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Then,
like seeing
yeah,
Emily.
sorry, Molly. Go
I
ahead.
think overall, like, yeah, I feel like she just did it to herself with her sharing everyone's secrets and all the information around, but she did make it pretty far, so I'm proud of her for that.
Mm-hmm. Then Molly, you went next, and you picked Mother Bob herself, Genevieve Michalak, and you said that you said you think that she'll learn from her mistakes of not forming deep connections last time. That was kind of the big thing on 47. That by the end she was saying she regretted, and that Matt and I were a little bit concerned though that others would be looking to her as a big threat because of her season being so recent and she was a big name.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say we were kind of half and half looking back.
Yeah.
Like, I think she did well, and she just got so unlucky over and over and over again,
Yeah.
and found 2 idols that she couldn't keep, and then got swapped onto this tiny tribe of the worst possible people that she could be swapped with, and she didn't really have much of a way out of it.
Yeah, no, I feel like with her not being able to use the idols that she got, like that really just ruined her game there. But overall, like I'm happy we got to see Genevieve, and I think that had it been if she could have kept one, or had one idol that she could have put in her pocket, she could have made it longer in the game. But also, like her relationship she formed, like it felt like they were gonna help her in the game too. So I was like, yeah, so she did learn from her mistakes in that way that she was building those connections with people. Just the people that she ended up with down that swap tribe were not the same people that she had the trust with. So that just wasn't in her favor there.
I think the things that we were concerned about, Michael, were not her downfall. She
No.
played insanely well, and there's a world where Genevieve could have won the season instead of our eventual winner, Aubrey. So I kind of look at that way, where in an alternate universe, Genevieve would be sitting there with the $2 million and the car.
Look, yeah, I don't know that I think it was too early to call that, like, of
Mhm.
whether she would actually have been able to make it all the way to the end, because she would have had to get rid of, like, Aubrey. Like, there were people who were really gunning for her, but there were so many worlds where she gets swapped onto a different team during the Blood Moon, and she's safe. And Aubrey, I
Yeah.
guess, had an idol, so it wouldn't have been Aubrey going home then. I don't know who it would have been, but
Exactly.
it was just she kept getting swapped with Aubrey and the one person who was really coming for her, and she could not have gotten unluckier. I think potentially one of the unluckiest contestants of all time on Survivor. So she could not catch a break, but I think you're right that it wasn't her reputation or anything like that I think really was her downfall in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-mm.
Then I had 2 picks, and I went first with Coach because everybody in their preseason interviews wanted to work with Coach. Every single person
That's
was
true.
like, I cannot wait to be on a tribe with Coach. And I think that eventually, in the beginning, we could see that. I think a lot of people really like being so entertained by him and fascinated by him as a human. But then I
Right.
think a lot of people by the end were very annoyed, and it did not. And people were not feeling that way by the end when Coach ended up leaving. But I think that did show itself in the early days on the show. Then I went with Tiffany because I thought that people would gravitate towards her and she won't be an early threat, which I think also pretty much turned
That's
out to be
true.
right. So
Great pick.
I,
Yeah. You saw the future there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Tiffany, I think I was right on. With Coach, I
Yeah.
think I was like right in the beginning, but underestimated how much he would wear on people like after a couple weeks.
I think what happened with Coach though is that I don't know how I wonder how people who knew him felt about him going in versus those who didn't know him. Like, obviously, there's the talk of pregame alliances, so that's a factor if people did know him. But for those who didn't know him, like, there seemed to be this giddy spirit of, I get to play with Coach. Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna give me a nickname and all. And then I think when the reality set in is when things came crashing down to earth for Coach.
Exactly. Once you have to be with them 24/7, it's very different than watching them for an hour a week on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Uh,
happy to see when he went. But I feel like with Tiffany, she was definitely under edited, as we know. Or I mean, she
Totally.
was not
yeah.
shown for us as much as we wish we would have seen, because she made it into the finale episode, but we barely even saw confessionals of her. So I feel like I wish we got to see more of like what her game was throughout the season. But she was a quiet threat, I guess, to people. So like people didn't see that like as much in the game to vote her out. Even though she did have very much a shot, I think, to win it if had been her to win that immunity at the end there.
I know.
Yeah.
It could have been. Was she one like basically 10 seconds away from winning season 50? Do we
I'd say
think
5.
5 seconds away from winning? I think
Sure.
Yeah.
I think there is a world where she wins this season if she had won that immunity. I don't know. I think she also maybe would have had to win the final four Samotion immunity, but I don't know how she would have been at Fire, especially versus Jonathan, who made it so quickly. I don't know if then that would have just been her fate if she hadn't won that immunity, but I think is there certainly a world where especially if she can make it
Yeah.
to final three, I think she has a pretty decent chance.
Well, let's assume that Joe wins Samotion in that case as the runner up for that. And I mean, but my theory about Samotion, and first of all, let me just say the challenge that Jonathan won, I feel like as a tall person, I could say this. He had an advantage because when you're throwing things as a tall with a lot of reach, it's easier to hit them. But also, and then all the steps he's taking, he has the reach that way too. So, but no, my thing is this. I think that Aubrey had an advantage because she didn't have to bend over. And she obviously had Samotion in her backyard. But as a tall, like bending over to get those balls in Samotion, that hurts your lower back.
Oh, interesting. I never thought about that.
I
guess
did
that
think
does-
about that.
yeah.
Live
I
as well as
see, that's not a
watching.
problem I have. So
Hey, no, but I don't know. Maybe Tiffany would have won that. Or if she didn't, like again, Joe wins. He's not that tall, right? So I think he takes Jonathan to the end. And then Rizzo goes against Tiffany. Just because it seems to
So
be like
then maybe
Joe and
Tiffany does
Jonathan are
win
closer.
that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Interesting. I guess the world will never know.
No.
But then, Molly, you pick Mike White next. And you were saying he's smart. He'll make good alliances. I thought that maybe people won't vote him off so they can be on White Lotus, which I think
Fair.
with Ozzy we saw. And then I also thought that his head wasn't fully in it. Like from his preseason interviews, it kind of felt like to me like he was just needing like a break from White Lotus and was wanting to do it just because it's this like season 50 anniversary season and how can you say no to it? But that like his heart wasn't really fully in the season. And I don't know, do we think we saw that at all play out?
I thought he was in it
Yeah,
for the
I
time
kind of
he
do
was
too.
there. Yeah, like I definitely think he was playing the game. Like I was thinking that when you mentioned that, so I like had that in my head that like, oh, maybe he's not into it. But then I like really did think he was into it watching him. So, and he was obviously upset when he got voted out too. So I think that's also
Yeah.
telling with that. Like it's like, oh, like this I wasn't expecting that because he was blindsided there. But we heard in the reunion part that he's just start writing White Lotus right when he got voted out. So like it was kind of work for him there already too. So he was there for the meantime, and then right afterwards he's like, all right, gotta start the creative
Yeah,
juices
because he
are
went to
flowing.
like a different, a different. Like most of the time, the pre-jury goes on a trip together, like all stays together for the rest of the season. And Mike was like, "Nope, I'm going somewhere all by myself so I can write the next season of White Lotus," and he did that. So look, it was productive at least
Yeah.
that time. So next, we Matt, you were up and you picked Suri and Camilla as your next two picks. So for Suri, of course, I mean, it goes without saying, but you said you think that she'll do well because people want to be around her. And Molly was worried, thinking that maybe people will feel like she had too many chances already. But I actually said that I was worried about her before watching the pregame interviews,
What?
but that actually after watching them, I was a lot higher on her because the rest of the cast seemed higher on her than I thought they would be. Like people wanting to work with her versus people wanting to get her out seemed like a higher ratio than I was expecting. So actually felt pretty good about her coming into it, but we'll go Suri first. Matt, what do you want to say about your pick of Suri?
Suri is a legend. Suri's an icon. Suri won the season. She won the season. Look how far she got. I was sitting there in the auditorium in this theater, 1,500 people in New York City for RHAP. I think that's where we were, watching Suri almost get voted out, and it didn't happen. And everyone's on the edge of their seats, worried. And the thing about it is, Suri should have been gone when Jenna Lewis was targeting her, if people knew what they were doing. So it was just a gift to get to see so much of her, to get to see her play this masterful game, get to see her win the Lifetime Achievement Award that she won, get to see her win the Sia Award and the money. Like she, I feel like, is a true winner this season. So I think I would count my record as like 1.5 draft wins to Molly's 2 at this point.
I'll let that count.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a quarter. I'll give you a
I'll
point.
take a
25.
quarter.
Yeah, like Parvati's win counts as like a half of a win for Australian
Yeah.
Survivor. I think this counts as a quarter.
Okay,
I think that's
I'll
fair.
take a quarter. But
Yeah.
it was awesome to have her on my team. Though, truth be told, like I must have panicked when I picked her because there wasn't a world where she was going to win, in my opinion, even though so many of us wanted it.
But sometimes it's just about having people on your draft who you want to root for
Yeah.
rather than who you actually think is like going to win the season. And I think Suri
Yeah.
is good to have on your team just because you're going to root for her anyways. You might as well root for her double.
It could have happened though. You know,
It could have. It was close.
I mean, one, if Tiffany didn't have the fake false immunity win that happened with her
Yeah.
picking her foot up, and then obviously if Ozzy would have played his idol and stayed in the game, like those things would have definitely helped Suri, and there's definitely a path for her to make it to the final 3 with those two things
Yeah.
being different. So it is wild how close
Yeah.
she really got, apparently, you know, from where we're sitting.
Yeah.
For
So then
sure.
Camilla was your next pick, and you thought that Kyle's threat level might overshadow hers and that she might be able to slip under the radar a bit. Molly, you were curious to see how she'll work with Kyle. I did not have high hopes for her, thinking that 48 was just too recent and that Kyle and Camilla being the secret duo and seeing how sneaky they were, that was not going to do well for them coming into this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we didn't get to see a Camilla Kyle reunion because Kyle got out of the first episode, but I
But
still
Camilla did
think
better than I thought she would.
Yeah,
I
I
have
agree.
to say. She was able to get in there a lot better, and unfortunately, really because of Chrissy, your other team member, she was she had a earlier exit than we had hoped.
Blame me, it's fine.
Then Molly, you picked the winner of the season, Aubrey Bracco. Pick 11. So she went pretty late.
Yeah.
Before half, but just before half. You
Lucky
thought that
number
she and
11.
Suri would. Yeah, you said that she and Suri could work well together because of their history from Game Changers. I was curious to see her and Q together because of their history. And Matt, you thought that maybe the more recent nerdy archetypes will overshadow her threat level because of her being a little bit older school.
Oh, interesting.
So Molly, winner of the season. What do you have
Yeah.
to say about your pick here?
I'm feeling great about my pick of Aubrey. I feel like earlier in the season, though, I was like, oh, there's no way that she's going to win. But then as we were getting towards the end, I was like, oh, actually, this could be a good, like, underdog story. She was really adaptable. What she said in her final tribal speech, that she didn't stick to a singular alliance and was able to move throughout the game how she needed to in the moments that she needed to and voted right every time. So I feel like they were good resume points for her and ended up winning the game. So I'm happy with that.
Yes, she
I
did.
just want to say on Aubrey, I feel like we were cheated because I don't know if we spoke about this in the draft, but in that trailer video, there's Aubrey doing like a belly flop into the water, the least elegant dive ever. And I am like seeing that, I'm like, oh yeah, she's done. She's the first boot. She's out. But her story is so beautiful, and you know, I really appreciate great storyteller, but like I couldn't ask for a better Aubrey win at this point. So
Yeah.
I love that. That was a great pick.
Yeah,
Molly.
look, it's crazy. It's
Thank
it's truly like unbelievable that it was almost 10 years to the day that she lost Korong. Like that's just like blows my mind thinking about that.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a beautiful story. So like you can't be too upset about her win even if you weren't rooting for her all season long. I just think the story of it all is just so you couldn't ask for anything more perfect for season 50.
Well, and credit to her for really telling that story beautifully
Yeah.
in ways that Joe and Jonathan weren't able to. Like she made it bigger than herself in ways that they didn't do. She made it like so many universal themes of like having anxiety and growth and like resilience and coming back and fighting for it. And the 137 days, like I was not there for Aubrey, snake ass Aubrey, as Tiffany would say. Um, but I was by the end of it. So I love that for
Yeah.
her.
Well, then I had two picks here. Joe was my first pick, one of our runners up. And then I also picked Steph. So for Joe, I thought that people would want to work with someone they know will be loyal from what they saw in 48. Molly, you thought that you were worried that he didn't have enough time to reflect on his game since it had just aired, which I think was very true. And I think that was good, from both of us, good predictions. Like I think it was kind of that tells his whole story.
Yeah.
Like he did get a lot of allies because of how loyal he was, but he also didn't have enough time to reflect on his game, so he was bound to lose again when he got to Final 3. So I
He's
think
funny.
that was actually really perfect.
Yeah, we
Nailed it.
predicted Joe's game perfectly.
I mean, he's a pretty predictable guy. So
That's true. But he did backstab some people, as he was saying, because
he tried not to. He only wrote
Yeah.
down Chrissy's name, and then they made him go back and put down Coach.
That's true.
Oh my gosh.
But it's okay. We still
Yeah.
love Joe and his personality, maybe, but not in
Look,
the game of Survivor.
He was such a fun foil
Sure.
for the season. Like for everybody having to deal with Joe was just such a funny side plot all season long
Yeah.
that I can't be mad that he was there. And I think he served his purpose.
And he said he would do it again every time they call.
I don't know that they're
I don't
going to
know
be
if that's
calling
true.
anytime in the near future. Look, I could see it maybe in like season 65 or something. I don't know. But I think we're going to get a little while without Joe. But then we have Steph, who it was very quick. I was like, I don't really want her to do well, but I know she won't be an early target.
Yeah, that was accurate.
Yeah. She was bound to fit in perfectly with a lot of those honor and integrity group. And I just kind of saw her as being somebody who would not be an early target, was going to easily slide to merge. And that seemed to happen. And then she was eliminated shortly thereafter.
She's so funny to watch. Like playing with Cerise specifically.
Yeah, that's a never. Suri will always and forever outplay Steph. That will forever be her Steph's story. She will never outrank Suri on a season where they are together. Suri has always placed better, even on Heroes Villains, where Suri was the 4th person voted out. Steph was the 2nd person voted out. So yeah. But then, Molly, you picked Colby, speaking of Heroes Villains.
Okay.
And basically you thought that he will be likable and an asset in the challenges. So that would take him pretty far. And look, I think if he didn't have an injury, it probably would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think people really liked Colby, like more than I was expecting to. Maybe I mean I think people would like playing with him, but like I think people like really did like Colby. And so that was good for him. But then yeah, his injury just bit him in the butt there.
Yeah, that wasn't great. But yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Colby, and I would say this for maybe everybody this season, like he definitely played better than I expected. So
I agree.
that was awesome. I love that.
No, yeah, he was definitely a different Colby than we saw in Heroes Villains last time he
Mhm.
played. He was a much more, his head was in the game a lot more than it was in Heroes Villains, where he did not want to be there. He was not in a good headspace going into that season. But now he really felt like enough time had passed. He regretted how he was in Heroes Villains.
Mhm.
And he was able to be like, I don't want to be that person again. And I think that really helped him to fully be present and appreciate the experience and go out now for what I assume will be his last time playing this game in a way
Yeah.
that I think he can be happy with how it ended.
I will say I felt similarly about Aubrey going in based on her last appearance just being a bit of a downer for her and for her legacy, but you know, you could reverse the curse.
That was the title of the finale.
No.
And I think it was fitting for multiple people
Yes.
this season. Yeah, like Aubrey, I think Colby. I think a lot of people really can go out now if this is their last time and be like, I'm happy with how this ended this time.
Mhm.
And I think that goes for a lot of people this season. So happy for them. Then, Matt, you picked Savannah next.
Yeah.
So you said you want her to run it back.
Yeah.
And Molly and I were worried that the unknown factor of the 49ers, both of them, would work against them, especially Savannah, if people knew that she won. And, unfortunately, I don't know if that was the reason that she went. Honestly, I kind of don't remember much about her exit, but it was an early exit.
Yeah, this is the point in the draft where I start to get a little loopy. And I just said, you know what? Savannah, you're coming with me. And I love Savannah. I adore her. I feel like she was so great on social media during the season, like reporting from Ponderosa, reporting on her experiences from Ponderosa and all these like insider things, which was fun. I hope we get a lot more of her somehow around the show, and not even as a player, but if they have her, like they've had Sophie Bellardi on a lot of red carpets, put Savannah on red carpets, like have her hosting things. Yeah. I would love to see it. So, but yeah, her game went about as well as it could, but not for lack of trying.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's good she did come out and say that she was the winner, just because people kind of already knew that. Obviously, going into the season, people talk about what's happening and the rumblings of that. So I think that didn't really hurt her, but it was more just the people thought like, oh, like we don't really know her at all. So
yeah,
I might keep her.
Yeah, I don't think she was ever going to do amazingly this season just because of the timing of it all. But I think that she didn't her legacy did not decrease to me at all from this season. Like I don't think she made any huge mistake. It was just happened to be circumstances that she was never going to do, get too far. And I'm glad that she was there. I'm glad we got to see her again for a few episodes. And I think she's always going to be fun. And I hope this isn't the last we see of her.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
But then you also picked another winner here. You picked Dee. So you thought that she was going to be she's a smart player. We know that, of course, from 45. And you thought that she'd be able to maneuver well, which I think, look, she may have not made it too far, but she absolutely, I think, played a good game for the time she was there and was able to fit in and connect with people really well. And for somebody who I think a lot of people say is the best, most dominant winner of the 40s, that I think the fact that she was able to make it as far as she did is a huge testament to her.
Yeah, it was sad to see her go. But then it was amazing to see her come back to the jury. I will never forget, for one reason or another, her walking out and she's like strutting like she's on a runway as the first member of the jury. And then she's the mayor of Ponderosa, which is such a powerful position to be in. But, like she did an amazing job every step of the way. So I'm proud of Savannah and Dee as picks. They weren't winning picks, but they were picks.
They were good picks nonetheless.
I just said they were picks. I don't know if they were good. But...
I think they were good picks. I think, especially D, I think he did pretty damn well this season. Then Molly, you picked Christian Hubicki. You said, you just like him. You want him to do well. Mm-hmm. I said that I was worried that Cirie would view him like Corey Wurtenberger and want him to be out, just because like kind of that guy who she doesn't like playing with the nerds. Cirie does not like playing with the nerdy, like the guys who are just like going to ask her a bunch of questions about Survivor history. And, I kind of thought that she might view Christian in that similar way and that he would not be somebody that she would work well with. But she kind of did for a little while. She worked with that Christian Devins group for a little bit. And she did not immediately target him like I thought she would. So I was wrong. But Christian was probably one of the most fun people to watch this season, I thought.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed watching him in this season. I think obviously we saw the dynamic duo with Christian and Devins, and all that they did together was fun. And so I thought I liked all of his tribal council conversations and just all of his confessionals. Like, I feel like we really got to see more of Christian's personality this season, which was fun to see.
Yeah. Everyone loves Christian. I can't keep up with him half the time. That's my biggest issue with him. But he's so lovely and lovable, and he was so much of the story in the first half of the season. So I'm thankful for that. And I feel like in that way, he was a winner from the experience. He was really highlighted, I'd say properly, and then of course, even like, I don't know what the biggest move was, but just his acting. And the fact that he's not on White Lotus again, speaks to the beef with Mike, but the acting when it came to hiding that idol, the fake idol at Tribal, was just next level. So kudos to him for that.
Yeah. I think there's a few people from this season who went from like big names to legends.
Totally.
And I think Christian is one of those people. I think Devins is one of those people. I think Aubrey maybe even is one of those people. Even though it's her fourth season already, I think this was the season that really like cemented her as like in the Survivor Hall of Fame. So I think Christian absolutely positively benefited from being on this season. The way he went out sucked. It's forever F Jimmy Fallon, but I really appreciated what we got from Christian this season. I thought he was very
fun. That was ugly. I forgot. I blocked that out actually. I couldn't.
Yeah, I actually almost forgot.
Yeah. That was not good.
Yeah,
and the fact he had to
it's good. We want to forget that.
And they embarrassed him on the way out with the puzzle and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was really ugly.
But then he got to go on Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, but now we hate him. So like, okay, so we went on the talk show of a guy that we don't like anymore. I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding. I don't hate Jimmy Fallon. But then I had two picks here. First was Ozzy. I was impressed by Ozzy's interviews preseason. I thought that he and Cirie would work really well together and do some damage. And I thought that Ozzy's not the type of person who would be a huge target early on. People want him on the tribe to get fish and to help them in challenges. And I think that worked out pretty well. He made it very far, and it was his own doing that he once again went out the same way he did in Micronesia.
Yeah, and apparently he was injured a lot of the season. Because I know he talked about his back at one point on the show, which I don't even know how big of an issue that was, but then something in his leg, his tibia, fibia, whatever it is. I don't know what the big thing is, but he was apparently in very bad shape throughout the season because of his injury. And I know he had surgery on it in the fall eventually, but he could have gone, like, he also could have been a winner. That was a strong pick, even though it was Ozzy, who does know how to play an idol.
Yep. We would have thought that he would have learned by now, but he did not.
By now, he's learned to listen to his dreams.
Do you think if he went back, I think he would go out the same exact way again, potentially, if he were to come back for a fifth time?
I would love to see it.
I don't know. Yeah. I think he might have learned, maybe.
Only if he has a dream.
I don't know that we'll ever know. I think this might have been his last go-around on Survivor. Wild. I think we're going to see Ozzy on other shows, but I don't think we're going to see him on Survivor US again. But then my next pick was Q. Not a lot to say about Q's game on this season, unfortunately, but he was. I just said, he'll entertain his tribe and they'll keep him around just because he's entertaining, but they won't want to work closely with him necessarily because he's so unpredictable. But, sad that we didn't see more of Q this season.
Yeah, he's a fun person to see, but yeah, they did not want him in the game.
I probably pushed back on that and said, like, Q, everyone wanted to work with Q in his season. That's why they were so mad at him. But, like, yeah, he always has a way of taking these very strange but firm stances that he doesn't need to take. And that costs him or isolates him from certain people. And he did that yet again.
Yes, he did. Well, then, Molly, you picked Kyle. You said he has connections already and will be able to socially integrate well with his tribe, which he seemed to be in a good position. I know it was so early. It was literally the premiere, but it did seem like that if he hadn't left because of his injury, he wouldn't have necessarily been the first person out of his tribe.
I agree. I was sad to see his Achilles take him out that way, but I mean, from what we saw, he could have been a winner. So
what a story you had, Molly, from losing your winner on first and foremost on the very first episode all the way to the end of the season where you had redemption and turned things around and you had the winner. It's like almost ironic.
Yeah,
full circle.
Yes, it is.
I was losing a lot of players early on.
Yeah. And then, Matt, you had two picks here. You picked first Angelina. You thought she just fits the vibe of the rest of your team. Well, all mothers. So we had to pick the last woman left. I predicted she would be the first out. I thought Angelina was going to be first out just based on what people were saying in the interviews was that a lot of people thought she was pre-gaming too hard. So I thought that would work against her, but she didn't, she got decently far in the pre-merge. She
was like, I think on, I don't know, things were not going to work out for her from the beginning.
No.
And something was just different about her. Like, everyone she's even talked about being the self-aware queen, but I feel like I love Angelina when she's not self-aware. Like, even on the way out where she was offering her jacket to people, like, this is a strange showing for Angelina, and we didn't get to see nearly enough of her, unfortunately. So that was a little bit of a bummer. I think one of the biggest disappointments in terms of like who we just did not get to see at all.
Angelina reminded me a lot of a Real Housewife who is really popular in her first season, and then the audience reception gets to her a bit, and then they just start self-referencing their iconic moments, and it gets to be annoying because it's like, okay, you're not allowed to be in on the joke, only we are, and it's clear that they're just performing rather than being themselves, and that's kind of a bit how it seemed like with Angelina.
I mean, who could blame her?
Right? I thought she was so fun.
I saw on social media the other day, someone, one of my friends who met her, had her ask for their jacket, and then he gave it to her, and it's a whole bit. And I'm sure she gets that all the time.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah,
she knows it's fun. Yeah. Then Matt, your second pick here was Jonathan.
My last,
and pick. Your last pick was Jonathan, and you thought that maybe he'd play a little bit more strategically than he did last time. Which, look, say what you will about Jonathan, I think he did.
Yeah, he was in second place. He had 3 votes. He's the total package. And,
I had heard that on TikTok, people talking about that, and then when I saw that happen, I was like, "Oh, this was worse than I thought." Yeah, it was rough.
So funny.
Yeah.
You know what?
She didn't even ask him a question.
No, she didn't.
She said, "A question's coming. I promise. I'm still waiting."
The question never came. It's so sad.
I'm still waiting.
But you know what? The funny thing is, I do think Jonathan played a stronger game this time around. He obviously was ready to beat Fire. He had his own redemption in that way. He reversed his own curse in that way. He got 3 votes in the end. I just think that, maybe the social relationships could have been a bit stronger with, for instance, with D. Don't go and start a fight with D. What are you doing? You're not benefiting yourself by starting these fights or by isolating people. And I think he was playing the game in a way that people didn't actually want to vote for him to win in the end. And he's not the
Yeah.
underdog. Like, who wants that guy to win $2 million?
Exactly.
I can't be him. He's 7 foot tall, 375 pounds. Like, no one else has that. So I think he just needs to be a little bit more relatable. And I kind of do hope we see him again one day. I don't think his story's over. Third time's the charm, as he
Yeah.
said.
I mean, I think he wants to play again because he's asking everybody who's interviewing him what he could do differently if he played again. So
Yeah,
seems like
it
he
does
wants
seem
to.
like he did do a lot of pre-strategy
Yeah.
too on his game, and so I could definitely see that in this season that he implemented that, and so at least he is learning and growing from his first time playing, and then maybe that we'll see him again and learn and grow even more.
Yeah. Hopefully it works with women, like, other than, like, Chrissy and just Stephanie, of course. But
Yeah. Non-MAGA women.
yeah.
Let's say.
Yeah.
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 Well, then Rizzo was Molly's final pick. You said that you would be very excited. He would be very excited to be there, even if he hasn't fully physically recovered from 49 yet. Matt, you were worried about him based on the one preview that everybody saw of him before
Yeah.
playing, of course, and that would maybe work against him. But the positive that you said was that he's still in game mode. So I think that
All of us.
tracked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think he absolutely was very impressive this season for the amount of lack of time that he had between seasons. Amazing that he was able to make it as far as he did again, and I think he did great. It was very fun to watch Rizzo this season.
Yeah, I had heard stuff that he was actually really sick
Yes.
during the season that
Yeah.
they cut that out, which I mean, I was right to say he wasn't physically recovered
No, he was not.
because he wasn't, and he lost 50
Yes.
pounds from when he started Survivor 49 to ending 50, and that's not
I'm
healthy at his
so
weight.
confused.
I saw that
Yeah.
picture like side by side between day 1 of 49 and day 25 or whatever of 50, and I mean, he's a stick.
I can't.
It's
Okay,
so
but
Yeah.
crazy.
maybe just me.
But now he said he's gained it back.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I still.
Well, now he's had a year.
I'm still very confused though. Like, when he mentioned having lost 50 pounds, like, he didn't have 50 pounds.
Was he
to
50
lose.
pounds?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I cannot wrap my head around that. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like you can't, like, I don't know what that looks like, but I couldn't, like, see that much. Like, it's
No.
disturbing though. And I'm glad that in a way, I'm glad that they didn't show it, because I think it would have been even more sad. And he was doing such a good job in the game, but to know that he
Yeah.
was not feeling good at so many points along the way, which I think might be one reason that people were like, oh yeah, let's bring Rizzo on reward. Let's give Rizzo this food
Yeah.
or whatever it might. Like, I think that worked for him, but he played a phenomenal
Sure.
game, and it,
Yeah.
sad how it ended.
I want to see Rizzo
Yeah.
again in like 5 years. I want to
Yeah,
see him
5
around
years.
season 60-ish. I think will be very interesting. Him coming in a little bit older, a little bit time to reflect on his game, and healthier coming into it, and just having people know who he is. And I would be interested to see how people work with him, having some context to how he played from these 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So I think we
Yeah.
will see him again. He's going to be the face of the 40s, I think, in a lot of ways for this show
Yeah.
moving forward.
And I will say, like,
Yeah, and I love.
oh, go for it, Molly.
Oh, I was gonna say I love seeing him and Cerie's relationship there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I feel like that definitely helped him prolong his time in 50 as well.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think that was interesting, and also interesting that clearly there was a Rizzo Jonathan Joe thing going on that we got shown in the last minute. But I was hosting a watch party, or co-hosting a watch party here in DC that night when the situation happened with Jeff, spoiling fire.
Oh, yeah.
And once that all unraveled, I remember saying, like, someone needs to start a change.org petition and get Rizzo back on Survivor, because that's such a travesty that happened. He had a good he was a good sport about it, had a good spirit about it, but like, I feel like that happening to him might have just, like, cemented, if it wasn't already cemented that he'd come back, like, I hope it cements his return in that 5 years or whenever they choose to bring him back, Michael.
Yeah, it absolutely. I think he didn't even need that to cement it,
No.
but I think if anything, look, he's part of a moment in Survivor history that nobody will ever forget.
Yeah,
So I think, good on him. He handled it so
he did.
well, and it was a tough, awkward situation, but I think he did as good of a job with it as he possibly could have.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Do we have one more draft pick after this too?
We do.
I don't even remember who it
Well,
is.
it's not really a pick, but I was given Devins, which,
Oh, come
look,
on.
the fact that Devins is our last person here
Yeah.
that nobody picked him is kind of wild because he was in a lot of ways like the face of the season. He was part of the biggest moment of the season with the Mr. Beast coin flip. And he absolutely, I think, I said it earlier that I think Christian and Devins and Aubrey probably are like the three people who really went from being big names of the show to legends. And I think Devins absolutely, this is not the last we will see of Devins. He will be back. And I think he was so much fun. And he embodies what I think Jeff looks for in a Survivor player in basically every possible way. And he's so much fun to watch. And I will be very excited if and when he comes back for our future season.
And when?
All of his
If
fake
and
idols.
when? If and when
I think
is
he's gonna
wild.
be back.
He will be back. But the
Yeah.
if is wild. He has to come back. And
I mean, we just don't know it
I
yet.
will
But
say, like, I just feel it because when Jeff was talking to Joe, he said, "Joe, you really embody joy." That's the word that comes to mind. And Jeff, if you listen to any interviews with him or read any interviews, he is the most joyful man in the world. Like that's the word he associates with himself. And so I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of Rick Devens one way or the other, or at least hear his name come up a lot.
yeah, 100%. He is in the Survivor Hall of Fame for sure after this season. But that ends our draft here. So Matt, one last piece of business to take care of. So if you remember last time you were here, you named your Chatty Award nomination for at the end of this year, the guest choice nomination. You picked Rob Cesternino at that time. Now, of course, more time. We've seen more reality stars in 2026. So I just want to give you the opportunity, if you would like to change your pick or keep it the same. I can't imagine you would want to change it, but I had to give you the opportunity.
That's a good one. Because the thing is, Rob, he doesn't even get, like, okay, I have to stick with Rob. But the reason why is because his power when it comes to reality TV has transcended the shows themselves, especially with the New York Times best-selling book at this point. And they keep having him as guests on all these shows. He was just on Bravo on Watch What Happens Live. He's popping up everywhere. So I'll stick with Rob, but I almost switched to do some chaos. Just with other people who might be on other shows coming up.
Well, look, you'll be back again before 2026 ends for our 51 draft. So we'll give you another opportunity later on as well. So this is not the last chance you'll have.
Do you think we'll see Rob on Beast Games?
I think we're going to see Rob on every show. I think we'll see Rob on Big Brother this summer.
Oh.
Why not?
Now we're talking. Okay, yeah. It feels a little like cheating
Manifest
at that point,
it.
But
Yeah. All right, well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us. This was so much fun as always. Anything you want to plug? Where can our listeners find you on social media? All that good stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love this so much. It's fun. It's humbling. Molly's the winner.
Molly, congratulations again.
I mean, we're happy for you that you're...
I got lucky.
Honestly, it's not impressive unless it's 3 in a row. So you have to... We'll see what happens next season.
Gotta go for that hat trick.
Yeah, or I could win
happen.
the next season and then I'll be at 2.
Or I could win one for once. I've never won.
But I think that's the bit. That's the fun thing about it.
So.
Yeah, Michael can't win.
Yeah, you can't win. But it's been great being here. People can find me at Matt Scotchy W on the different platforms like Blue Sky and Instagram. And I will plug a couple things. One is that June is right around the corner. It's in a week from now, basically, or it'll be June
Less
already.
than a week.
In less
Yesterday.
exactly less than a week. So the Pride Is Spoken podcast, where me, Dr. Evie Jagoda, and Grace Leader interview LGBTQ plus survivor players, is coming back. We have such an exciting lineup lined up. Like, I can't even, I'm like over the moon about that. So check that out wherever you get your podcast. You could find the Pride Is Spoken feed, or find that over on Rob's podcast. And also, I have my show Pod Friends coming back on Sunday, May 31st, every Sunday, pretty much up until Big Brother, depending on how many interviews I could actually record before then. And I will give you both an exclusive that my first guest back is none other than Survivor 45's own legend and icon, Brandon Donlin. So he's going to be
our
the first
friend, friend of the pod.
Yes, exactly, friend of the pod. So that's going to be exciting, but very thrilled to have Pod Friends back on RHAP. And you could find Pod Friends wherever you could find the Pod Friends feed, or just go to RHAP. So yeah, I'm getting busy. I love it.
So excited. Love both of those,
Thank
Pod
you.
Friends and the Pride Is Spoken. Great podcast. If you have not checked them out, definitely do. And thank you guys so much for listening or watching on YouTube. We will be back soon to chat Love Island, Big Brother, so much coming up soon. So a lot to look forward to. Be sure to check that out and follow us at Let's Chat Reality on all social media. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we will chat with y'all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.